everybody. Welcome to City Life. I'm Linda Bown. I'm your host. I have Marty Lorrey at the other end, and of course, my town manager, Colin
Good
Loiselle,
morning.
is here, and so it's good to see you. I
Always
see
pleasure.
the igloos are up.
Yes, we are. We are fast approaching our Festival of Trees, which starts on November 28th, as always, the day after Thanksgiving. And this year they launched a rent an igloo program. So if you've driven through the town center, you've certainly seen. I think there's 4 up right now on the lawn of the First Parish. They're all sold out. Basically, you could have rented them for, I believe, a 2-hour block during Festival of Trees, have dinner with friends or whoever you choose. And within the first couple of days, all the spots were taken. So the program is just, every year it gets bigger and bigger. I have a hard time keeping up, but that's the wonderful work of Allison Page, our rec director, and the Recreation Committee, which I don't know where they dream up these ideas. I don't know where they see them, but there's no dream too big for them. I think they've proven.
How many, is that it? How many igloos are?
I think that is 4. There may be room for 1 or 2 more, but I think that the 4 that are up right now are
Perfect.
them.
It's between the 2 buildings.
Yeah.
It's going to be lovely.
It's absolutely good.
And
It's
the
going to be a
walk.
great time, yeah.
Well, she has the scavenger hunt. She has, and then the library. We're all,
Yeah.
It's just an amazing. It's like a little winter wonderland. She has the barn for the reindeer, and
It's just
great.
wild how early they start planning for this. I mean, they transition from block party at the end of August, and first week of September, they're already talking about Festival of Trees.
Oh yeah, because it's getting to the point that you can't even get a tree in.
Oh yeah,
It's,
yeah.
It's really amazing. So I commend her. She's really something.
It's a great
We're very
use of our
lucky.
town center.
And everybody, she's very good to work with because everybody wants to volunteer. She has amazing number of volunteers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the rec committee grows. I'm not even sure, honestly, that the rec committee is designed to have as many people as it does. I think currently we're up to almost 20 members, and you're right, these are all people who just volunteer, and each one of them has a specific interest. Some of them are very interested in the block party, so they run with that. Some of them are very interested in the Festival of Trees, and she has a core group of those volunteers. I call them the tree ladies. They start decorating trees, I'm telling you, in the end of September.
Yep.
And, they do it on nights, weekends, whenever it works for them. So it's really a testament, I think, to the community that we've built in Tyngsborough.
Now you have Ironwood. She did a fine job
Yeah.
with the concerts there.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm sure she'll be doing other things. How's that working out? Is everybody pleased with that?
Ironwood was a tremendous success in year 1. I think that it really shows.
What is Ironwood?
Ironwood is a new park. This is on the site of the former Tyngsborough Country Club.
Okay.
The land was donated. It's probably about 35 acres in total.
Great.
The land was donated to the town as a part of the Toll Brothers development, which is a 55-plus housing project on the other half of the golf course. And it's got pickleball, basketball, disc golf, which is something I didn't realize was
That's
so
right.
popular, horseshoes, volleyball. I mean, the amenities are insane, and the town got a fully renovated clubhouse as a
So
part
first
of it.
snow, that's done.
You'd
I
be
don't
surprised,
know. The
honestly.
Park, John, the park is the walk is paved.
Mm-hmm.
I go by there maybe 2 or 3 times a day, and there were always people on the walk. And I think where it's paved,
Well,
they'll
the
probably.
walk's different, but the only place they played horseshoes after it snowed was
Oh,
in back central, right, Marty?
Yep,
Who knows? She'll come up with some kind of snowshoeing or
I
something.
was wondering what was going on, because I go by there and the motorcycles are in the car, and there's always people
It's
walking.
insane.
And I said, I wonder if they open the golf course again, at least 3 holes or 4 holes.
We do have on the front side of the parcel closest to the American Legion, they
Yeah.
preserved one of the holes, and there's a little pitch and putt there. But I think you're right, John. I think some of the activities that have sand will be done now for the winter. But, it's not uncommon for us to get a 50 or even 60-degree day in the middle of the winter. So basketball may still be there.
She'll be sledding or something. She'll think of
She
something.
will think of
Allison will
something.
think of something
Yeah.
to do there.
It's great for something for the town kids to do.
It is.
Good idea.
It's a great spot. It's amazing. At least it's a good result.
I think that's the good result is a great, I think a lot of people, of course, there was the debate about whether or not the town should buy the golf course. And people felt very strongly one way or another. And I think we see this a lot with municipal projects. There's always skepticism in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I hate to go back to my beautiful town center sign, but that was
Yeah.
something people were skeptical of. But when the project comes together the way it did, and when the projects are led by the community, that project was designed not by town staff, but by a committee that I think had 15 residents, people that represented conservation, planning, recreation, and residents at large. So when the projects are driven by the community, I think people end up being very pleased with the
Yeah.
result.
Well, you've moved all the monuments, all the veterans, to Veterans Park there, which is lovely. They moved the ones from the Vietnam Monument and everything, so it's centralized.
Yeah.
Everybody can, it's a nice little center of town now. It's developed quite nicely.
Do you have those preservation funds like Lowell and Drake it, where so much is, that's a great program.
We were in it right at the beginning.
Yeah.
We started with 3%, and we were one of the few that got matching at the beginning.
Absolutely. We have, I don't have the total number, I was looking at this recently, but we have spent, almost everything you see in our town center was done either by CPC funds or through state grants. There was virtually no operating dollars put into that. And same thing with Ironwood, 1.3 million I think is the total. That was all CPC funding used to create the courts. And it is, make no mistake, CPC money is a tax on top of taxes that you're paying, right? It's not free money. There's somewhat of a state match, although, as with all things the state does, it's never a complete match.
Not anymore.
But yeah, CPC has been a huge success in Tyngsborough. I think people
That's good.
really like it.
Well, yeah, I'm quite pleased with the whole thing. It's so anything else exciting in Tyngsborough, do you see?
Yeah, our big thing, of course, is our efforts to build a new fire station. The select board last month appointed a fire station building committee. They had their first meeting last week, and we are fully into the schematic design right now with our designer, H2M Architects. I think that the unique thing about this project is I don't think you'll find a Tyngsborough resident that doesn't think that we need a new fire station. I think the work we have to do is make sure that it's affordable and do what we can to reduce the cost as much as possible, because I think that's what it comes down to, is what people can afford. And one of the things we don't do in Tyngsborough is take for granted that debt exclusions will pass. People are already maxed out.
Yeah.
And of course, it involves the demolition of the former Winslow School, which is a sensitive subject. And we had a CPC meeting a few weeks ago. The Historical Commission was looking to just fully restore the outside of that whole building with no funding available for the inside. And I think CPC wisely pointed out that, if we don't have a use for the building that we can afford, CPC on its own can't afford a full renovation of the building. You're probably talking close to $14 million to fully restore that building. And so that would require a debt exclusion, which is a tax increase. And I think there's a balance between preserving as much history as you can and being cognizant of folks' wallets. And I think there are things that we can do, and we've committed to doing in a new fire station, to preserve the aesthetic of the Winslow School. So I think that's going to be part of our battle is, it does involve tearing down the Winslow School, but we've been trying to find a feasible use for it for over 20 years. And
and I think that the Shore Fine was is fresh in people's minds, that we spent a lot of money there and ended up tearing it down.
What is the Winslow School?
Up on the hill. There's
So-
the library and the Winslow School.
It's
Right
covered
up
in
in
a
there.
yellow Tyvek wrap right now, but it was the white building next
Near
to
the
the library.
police station and?
No, across from the old post office,
Yeah?
right up on that hill.
Oh, really? Okay.
The building has been vacant for over 20 years. As a part of the Historical Commission's efforts to preserve it, we hired an architecture firm to go through the building, the outside only, and tell us what the problems are. And it's in complete disrepair, of course, because we haven't invested any money in it since it closed. But just to restore the outside, you're looking at $2.2 million. And that doesn't touch anything on the inside. And the one thing that, I try to get people to understand is that it's never as simple as just restore the building. CPC can restore the building because it's historic, but CPC can't hire the staff to clean it or maintain it. CPC can't pay the electric bill or the gas bill. And the reality is Tyngsborough's budget is maxed out as it is. We've looked at all kinds of options. In 2022, we looked at making it a town hall. That was a $15 million project that was both not timely, not needed, and I think financially not responsible. As much as I would love to move town hall to the center of town, it's just not something that's in the cards.
Yeah, and it's not, though it's in the center, it's not that accessible,
Right,
as
correct.
people think. I mean, if you could knock down that hill,
Yeah.
down to Winslow, but it's all ledge, and there's not much you could do with it. And so and I have to commend you, and the school did very well coming in.
2.8 million under budget.
And so you fiscally, you're running the town very well. So
Appreciate
I think that, and you've been kicking this whole fire station around. I do wish you'd have it on our side of the river. I do wish we had a fire station really operating in our,
Yeah.
but we do have the new one in Drake.
Yes.
So at least, and I know we do partner with them.
Yeah, and Chief Russell, our fire chief, has made it abundantly clear that future staffing increases for the fire department would require us investing in Station 2, which is on your side of the bridge. Right now, a majority of our calls are on this side of the bridge. The town center is geographically centered.
Yep.
And you're right, we do rely heavily on mutual aid from Drake. Their station is much closer
Oh, yeah.
to where you are than ours is. But certainly there will come a time when the budget and when staffing allows that we'll have to have people on
Yeah.
the east side of the river.
Yeah, it's the town is, actually, I think we're doing pretty well with the growing pains right now. We seem to be stable.
And I think that's a kudos, and I talk about this all the time, that's a kudos to our land use regulatory boards, the planning board, conservation, zoning. You look at some other towns, and we won't name any of them, but they did a lot of strip malls, they did a lot of rapid development because
Yeah.
it's good money up front. We haven't done that. When you think of some of the growth, it's all been in areas where there's no impact on residential things. It's been areas where there's no impact on, we're focusing right now, we have our biggest developments that we're looking at are warehouse projects because they come right off the highway, very little impact
Yeah.
on local roads, they're not adding kids to the school system. So we've been very strategic. Unfortunately, we're at the point Tyngsborough only has so much land where
Are you kidding me, Colin? You only have so much land?
we do.
You've got a ton of land, man.
Well, we have a ton of land, but a lot of it is restricted for open space, and I don't think there's an appetite.
You practically go from sea to shining sea. Tyngsborough's so big.
I should clarify, undeveloped land. We don't have much undeveloped land left.
We really
All right, I'll let that one slide. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and I think that, and I give you credit for this, on that whole nonsense with the governor and the housing. You very cleverly put it up where it wasn't going to impact the neighborhoods. It's up towards, that they can get on. And actually, if anybody wants that type of housing, they want to be able to get to things. It's perfect.
Absolutely. That and I can't take all the credit for that. Our planning board, again, was very involved in the designing of that. We need housing. I think everyone agrees that, if you're a young family starting out in Tyngsborough is not very affordable. People who want to downsize that have lived in Tyngsborough forever can't because they can't
go to the
anywhere.
golf course at $900,000.
Not one
and
bit.
they're huge.
They're very big. But the approach that they took is just not feasible. Tyngsborough couldn't support 700 new units. And so we did. We focused on one of our zones is already developed, multifamily housing. And those were finished, less than 10 years ago on the southeasterly side of Middlesex. One is the Pheasant Lane Mall, which we've always seen as probably most likely to be developed. But when you think about that parcel, that's going to be younger people who are commuting on Route 3 south for work in Burlington, Bedford, Boston. It's not going to have the same impact on our school system as if you were building a bunch of single-family homes.
Right.
And then the third district is up between Nature's Remedy and Epigram Brewery, and the topography challenges over there make it almost financially not possible
Right.
to do. So I agree. I think that our planning board did a great job minimizing the potential impacts, and I've met with the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. I don't think the state realizes that they are burning bridges that could be valuable partnerships. If the state demonstrated a willingness to work with municipalities as opposed to just shove mandates on them with no funding to go with it,
Yeah.
I think that you wouldn't have to play these games, and I think that cities and towns would be far more motivated to build the housing.
Why do you fall under the MBT? And this is what I don't understand. You don't have a train station.
We are
We did
commuter rail
years ago.
adjacent.
You did?
Oh, yeah, right where Sullivan Farm is.
Oh,
They also
really?
have
Right,
an
selling an ice
active
cream on it.
track.
Yeah.
The tracks are
But they
there.
used to
that I-
stop
Yep.
there. There was a stop there.
There was a talk of going from Boston to
Yeah.
Montreal, and they were gonna use those tracks, if I remember right. I
Yeah.
was on a regional.
Oh, they keep, every so often they kick it out.
Yeah.
They want to go to Concord, they want to,
Concord was another one,
Yeah.
Manchester.
Yeah.
And,
maybe
the-
they will down the road have a commuter rail. I don't see it. But again, talking about what you're talking about, I think you could see a station in Tyngsborough, down by the Pheasant Lane Mall.
Right before she's no longer in Congress. I think her term ended at the start of this session. But Annie Custer from New Hampshire, she was the congresswoman, I think, that represented
Right.
Nashua. She, in like her waning days in Congress, reintroduced efforts to do another study, government love studies, of putting a new train stop at the Pheasant Lane Mall. There are some challenges. There's only one set of tracks going up. And so I don't suspect that will go anywhere anytime soon, but it is certainly a conversation that people
Yeah.
keep having. But to your point, none of our MBTA zones, which the state approved, are accessible by public transit.
That's right.
Just think about
Right.
that. This
I
is the
know.
MBTA
We don't
communities
even
law,
have a bus anymore going to the mall.
only in Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's not, I do want to give the LRTA credit, that's not for lack of trying. They've reached out to us a bunch of times to make it happen. Unfortunately, it would require the town spend close to $500,000 a year to make it work, which is just
Right.
not something we can.
And it's free bus.
And that's why it's going to cost the taxpayers $500,000. Nothing's really free, is the
No.
whole.
And the center, I know with the housing, I talked to the directorate in Lowell, and he even brought the bus up to see if he could get it into the elderly housing, and it's just not feasible in that center of town. It's small,
Yeah.
it's dicey.
So the bus doesn't stop in Tyngsborough.
No, it doesn't go.
We have a bus stop in Tyngsborough on the east side at the intersection of Coburn and Lakeview, but it doesn't come across the bridge to our heaviest populated business district. When the casino opened in Nashua, the LRTA reached out a few times, and to their credit was very persistent about wanting to do a bus from JFK all the way up to
Nash.
all the way up to the Nash. But it would have required Tyngsborough to foot the bill to the tune of $500,000. And when you think about who's going to benefit from that bus, it's really not Tyngsborough users. It's going to be people whose trips are originating in Lowell that would go through Chelmsford and Tyngsborough. But the Tyngsborough span is less than a mile and a half. So we certainly couldn't. And we spent months looking at it. We talked to the Nash about potentially sponsoring the bus service because it would benefit them. But they weren't interested.
Not buying it.
No.
No, and when you talk about the land between, on the other side, where Bomo owns, that is very, now that you have sewerage, it makes it a little easier. But there's a lot of wetland back there, a lot of
ledge, yeah.
Yes, lots and lots of ledge, which is unfortunate because it would be a great place for a hotel.
I totally agree. I mean, there's actively a permitted warehouse project there that would have had a small retail pad in the front, which is exactly what, that would really fit the Middlesex Road feel. Unfortunately, the ledge makes it
Yeah,
and the warehouse, the desire to have warehouses was popular 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
ago, and it's not as popular
Right.
now.
But we do have up at the old TJ Maxx Mall, their Trader Joe Mall, where that's really coming along. There's a rock climbing and an arcade, and they're all. Boy, that's going up very quickly. That other
Where is
building,
that?
up where the Dunkin' Donuts is,
Right across from the mall, there's a tavern in the
the
square.
last
now.
bit
Oh, yeah.
of land in Ting.
Oh,
Oh, that's right, that's Tyngsborough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, they recently rebranded
the tavern.
the tavern in the square, which is
Right.
just packed constantly.
It's amazing. All those restaurants up there are really picking up.
And there's some new ones coming that used to
I
be,
know.
we used to call it the 440. They've recently rebranded, and they call it now the Edge District.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to stop calling it the TJ Maxx Mall.
Calling your fan clubs out there. Good morning. Am I hearing this correctly? Fiscal responsibility in government. Take a bow, Mr. Loiselle.
Yes, he should. We're very fortunate. And nobody else can have him.
Agreed. But on the Edge District, we're actually hosting a regional economic development event there next Wednesday to kind of highlight the work that they've done. Sam Park, who's the owner of the plaza, will be there. But you're right. I mean, Metro Rock will be opening soon. Tavern and Square is there. I know they've got letters of intent with.
What's Metro Rock?
It's a rock climbing gym.
You know, like they have up in Nashua, across from actually Walgreens and
Yeah.
CVS, and they've got the arcade, and they've got an Indian restaurant that is almost ready to open on
Yes.
the other side.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the variety of things there.
I
which
think
is
the
what we were
dollar
looking
store is
for.
going. I think that
Is
they're not.
it?
Colin,
Yeah.
last night we went to the Olive Garden and we
Oh.
went back. Coming back home, I went towards Notre Dame Academy. Any plans on a traffic light to take a left into the pot store?
Great question. We're actually meeting with MassDOT in a couple weeks. Middlesex Road, which is where the pot store is.
Both of
of them
The
are.
twin pot stores. One,
Yeah.
You got stereo pot
Competing
stores.
ones.
Right across the street from each other.
Dueling pot stores.
Yeah, that is a state road, so we have to work with MassDOT on anything we do. The parcel we were just talking about, where the Bowmill parcel, as a part of that, that's right next to Nature's Remedy. As a part of that permit, they were required, if they ever developed it, at their expense, to create a signalized intersection that would connect that development, Yellow House, which is the cannabis store on the opposite side of the street, and Nature's Remedy. Unfortunately, because that development isn't going forward, that hasn't happened yet, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. So we're meeting with MassDOT. There are serious challenges with people leaving Nature's Remedy and taking a left across 3 lanes of traffic. Even more so, there are people that take the right because you can't take a left, and then they immediately cross over and try to bang a left into the gas
Bahama-
station or Bahama Breeze. And just a few weeks ago, we had an accident over there that resulted in injuries. So we require them to hire details, I think Thursday through Saturday. That's their busiest time. But even then, one officer can only do so much.
What's the
It's a
speed
4-lane
limit over
highway.
there? 40?
I think when you cross, no, I think it's 35 between Locust and the mall.
So I would consider lowering it to 30, because New England, we're road warriors. We don't need traffic lights. If we want to take a left, we are going to take a left, baby.
Oh, I know.
Spot on. Yeah,
If you could just reduce the speed, that might take it, especially in wintertime.
yeah,
Just an idea.
If you put another set of lights in, that will do it.
yeah.
Lights usually slows down
Yeah.
the traffic.
So what else is going up there at the rock climbing and the tavern?
I'm told, although I'm not saying this officially, but I believe that there's a Brazilian steakhouse in the works, and I believe there's some sort of Italian restaurant planned for there as well.
Yeah. I just can't, the facade of everything is just, that's really picked up.
Yeah. And for those that aren't familiar,
It's
Sam
sat for a
Park
long
owns
time.
the Point in Littleton.
Yes, I know, it's a very,
And
we're
that
very
was,
fortunate.
He
to
does a
have
great
it.
job. He's very community oriented. He's always attending select board meetings. He's always willing to, and like I said, he's hosting this economic development event next week. So
And he's good to work with the boards. I know we have had good luck with him.
Yeah.
He's been very
that's the kind of
congenial.
developer you want, is somebody who
Oh, yeah.
respects the town,
Yeah.
Yeah.
isn't
They've-
just trying to jam something through.
Interestingly enough, they've changed the dynamics of that, where they've, when it was the Outback, then they moved things and they pushed things back so you can go around in the back, and
Yeah.
the parking's going to be better, everything. And yet, the minute there's an issue with conservation, they're there in a heartbeat. So, but I think the dollar store isn't going to stay. I think that something's happening there.
Well, and actually, I can't believe I almost forgot this. Augusta's Chicken, which is a
Oh.
Billerica staple, is
Yeah.
opening up right next to the
Tremendous.
Dunkin' Donuts, the
Oh,
440.
we're Kentucky Fried and then
Mr. Max.
Yeah.
they're having a grand opening on the 21st of November.
Awesome.
They're great.
Oh, delicious.
Oh, did you ever have it?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
you go in, someone I dated years ago works there, and they're known for their chicken, but I go in and I get the Italian sub. They have the best Italian sub I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, that's good. That's something to look forward to.
Very delicious, yeah.
Yeah.
Augustus is great.
It's a good spot, actually. It's just very, unfortunately, the selectmen at one time were short-sighted in that they would not give Trader Joe's a beer and wine license.
And that's why
And they
left.
moved, and then everybody went with them. TJ Maxx went,
Interesting.
they all left. And it's just unfortunate because it would
Yeah.
have been perfect, but hey,
Huh.
can't look back.
Yeah, it is
So,
bizarre.
It's interesting, but it was also at a time with that type of mall where just wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
So,
If you're going into a mall like that, though, and there's 4 or 5 different types of restaurants, Brazilian, steakhouses, Italian, you're going to draw a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just the diversity of the restaurants will change. To me, the best Mexican restaurant I've ever been in is in Tyngsborough, down by the brewery.
Yes.
Santa.
What's it?
La Santa?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
it. It's fantastic. Best Mexican food I ever had.
Well, that whole area right there, it's really picked up, and even the Dream Diner now, I think, is serving meals at night.
And do you want to read these two?
Sounds like Tyngsborough hired a guy who knows how to add and subtract. Where can Lowell find a Mr. Loiselle to manage our city? Are you looking
You wanna come
for a
along?
raise, Colin? We pay $300K. No.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm very happy in Tyngsborough.
The pot shop on Rogers Street in Lowell, you can't take a left out of the parking lot, but the car dealership just yards away, you can. Mixed messages.
I go by there a lot, and you do see people trying to take a left. Before they opened, they had a public hearing, and it was about 30 or 40 people who showed up. And best flavor ice cream from the panel. But yeah, and I questioned it, and I said, you come through the lights at Douglas Road, and you're going from 2 lanes to 1, and they had a traffic expert, and he says, "Oh, that won't matter. We've done our studies." I said, "I've lived here my whole life." I says, "You're going to have some issues," and I think the city's looking at the issue up there now. From what my understanding, it's just I go by there and it's packed. It's really busy, and the text is right about the car dealerships. You can take a left.
So, yeah.
They just had a motorcyclist killed up there not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Across the street on Groton Road, I think it was. A car, I think, stopped to let him out. Anyway, there was a major accident, and I think the case just went to court. And it's dangerous. It really is today. There's so much traffic.
Texters. Too many texters.
Oh, yeah.
People reading text. Text come on, even on the dashboard camera it comes up, the text now.
Yeah, that didn't help anything, I guess, on the dashboard.
I
Well,
like
it's all
Tyngsborough.
in the hands of the FCC. It could go away in a heartbeat. If your phone's moving over 5 miles an hour, texts don't work.
Huh?
Okay, make it 10 miles an hour then. 10 miles an hour, your text won't work. What will the children do? Look out the window.
Well, and that technology already exists, John, because you can voluntarily turn it on your phone. But you're right. If it was
But
mandatory,
Lori Trahan lets it happen. So all these accidents that happen because of text drivers on the highway and whatever, it's the FCC's fault. They're letting it happen. Should not work. That's just my take.
It's grown so much. Years ago, my uncle owned a piece of land. He built his own house where I think it's the Volkswagen dealership is in Tewksbury, just after 495,
Yeah.
the exits. And I remember them putting in the highway as a kid. And we would go out to visit them. There was a donut shop on Rogers Street. Really not much more than that, lefties. And when I was a mailman out there, the people used to tell me they could sit on their porch, Route 38, it was very quiet. And this is probably something that Tyngsborough has been affected by. It wasn't Lowell traffic, it's Tewksbury. Tewksbury grew tremendously. The car dealerships, Home Depot, they put the highway in. So there's a lot of Draker traffic and Lowell coming through. And probably that happened to Tyngsborough too at Nashua. with the
oh,
mall,
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
You're picking up that. I wouldn't even go near Nashua on a Saturday or Sunday. What's that, the Daniel Webster Highway?
Oh, it's a disaster.
It's a parking lot.
Yeah.
It's a parking lot. And I'm sure you're affected by that also.
Well, I think we're blessed in that they can't get off coming
Right.
down. I
Right.
think that, and New Hampshire has never been cooperative with that negotiation. They
Right.
want it all their way. And so and I'm very happy that
Yeah.
because it prevents people from, because I can't even imagine what that would be like now if they could.
Certainly more congested.
Yeah. Now, has the Nash made a big impact on anything?
I think when obviously we were very concerned about the fact that the entire parking lot is in Tyngsborough, and where does crime happen at casinos? It's not inside; they're fortified. It's in the parking lot. That never really came to fruition. There hasn't been much crime.
Good.
Traffic, depending on the day, isn't fantastic. I know sometimes on a Friday, trying to take a left off Bryan Lane onto Middlesex, all the traffic coming south and going north can be tough. Honestly, I think our biggest impact in talking to our public safety chiefs is that we get a lot of the 911 calls for medical over there.
Yeah.
So we've responded there for medicals more often than not. But it really hasn't been, I can remember when they were getting permitted. And Tyngsborough had no control over it. It's not like we could have said no or anything. But there was a lot of concern within Tyngsborough about the casino. I think at one point there was an attempt by residents to start a petition to stop it. None of those fears have come to fruition, and I don't think that they're as busy as they projected that they would be. Anyway.
Although I hear they're taking over more of the top four there.
Oh.
So we'll see. But I don't know. I don't go to the mall a lot.
We've gone to the Nash restaurant twice.
How was it?
Lackluster.
I've heard that.
Well, if you put a steakhouse, Brazilian steakhouse across the street,
nobody's going to be eating at the casino.
No, and the restaurants have picked up in Tyngsborough from, I think, the Nash.
Oh yeah, I mean, now if you want to go to Tavern in the Square on a Friday night or Saturday night, you need a reservation.
Yeah,
Tavern on the Square, exquisite.
They did a really good job there.
Olive Garden going downhill fast.
Oh, is it?
That's my take on it.
Well, you know what? That's an odd place. I think people don't even realize it's there up in the hill.
There were 9 of us there last night, and it scored so low that we won't publish it.
Well, Val was there because they serve veterans.
Last night?
Yeah.
I didn't see him.
No, I'm sorry. He was in there earlier. He was there earlier.
We were there like 5:30.
I might be at the Nash this afternoon if I can get my wife. She has an appointment, and she loves the casinos. And so I might be bringing her there, but I like to stop at the Mexican restaurant in Tyngsborough
Yeah.
and eat there. And it's very good.
And they're all partnering pretty well with the town, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's things like, to go back to Festival of Trees, it's opportunities like participating in Festival of Trees or Block Party that bring them into the fold. I mean, they start reaching out to the rec department in January, February to get a spot at Block Party in August because we have limited. But yeah, they all support, youth recreation programming, the schools. Epigram has been a tremendous partner. And what a wonderful job they did on that building. The food is great. The beer is fantastic. And they're very interested in being a community partner, as are many of our businesses.
Yeah. It's really I'm very pleased at how, and it's a perfect, that's how, as you mentioned, other towns grew, didn't have good planning. Mm-hmm. We have a good planning board and an engineer. And I think our engineer is fabulous, by the way.
Yeah.
And so they've developed the right part of town.
Yeah.
With
they've developed that town great. Yeah. They really have.
Of course, we could talk about the lights at the bridge.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about the lights at the bridge? I
would love to. If you haven't gathered yet, I'm a huge fan of the Commonwealth. Those are, of course, maintained by MassDOT. And I do have to give credit to our District 4, which is the district we're in. The district director is very responsive. They keep playing with the light cycles to mitigate the fact that up until the last 2 months, the traffic coming west over the bridge, particularly on Frost Road,
zipping right along,
was terrible. And now it is zipping right along. But if you happen to be going east over the bridge and coming down Kendall, there are times where that traffic is backed up a half a mile beyond the fire station.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's up to about 3 almost.
Yeah.
I find that kind of interesting because I've changed my mode of operandi going how I'm going to get up to Walgreens, whether I'm going to go through the center or just up through Hudson, because what time of day?
Yeah.
And coming back. I mean, I used to love just jumping on the highway come down, but Kendall Road can be a nightmare.
It can be.
That makes sense. Years ago when I was on NEMCOG, I was a member of NEMCOG, and Stevie O'Neill from Tyngsborough was their representative. There was talk of actually changing the location of the Rourke Bridge. It didn't last long, but it came up because traffic they found was going up Route 3 past Drum Hill and getting off and coming down into Vinyl Square. And they thought of putting a bridge there. So if that's getting busy, one more exit up would be Kendall Road.
Yeah.
So traffic may be going that way to cross that bridge as opposed to.
Now, they
the bridges
seem
and
to have fixed it. Oh, people who leave Smith Cannabis in Lowell aren't supposed to take a left,
Yeah, that's what we're saying, yeah.
but it happens all the time and many accidents have happened there.
Yep.
So the traffic coming in the morning has gotten better, coming over the bridge. And you've done a fine job if you're coming down from Nashua to take a left over
Yes,
the bridge.
yes.
That has really improved quite a bit. I suppose it's cut down on us all cutting through.
On Winslow, yeah.
Because Kendall's a disaster.
Yeah, no, it's a timing thing, and again, I've got to give credit to the D4 director. Whenever we reach out, they send someone to try to mess with the signals. I don't think it will ever be perfect, but certainly we have to do something about, waiting on. If you could sit through 4, maybe even 5 light cycles on Kendall Road if you're going over the bridge anytime after 2:30 and before 5
Yeah.
or 5:30.
It is, although they have extended, I've noticed they have extended, it used to be only a couple of cars could zip over after the,
That's the thing. They do come right out. They tweak the timer, and it's never perfect.
no, and
Well, the first time it loses power, it goes back to its memory.
Yes,
So I guess you guys must lose your lights out there a lot?
it's gotten better.
it has gotten much better. When the drugstore was open, we used to.
Because the light down the corner here at Elm and Gorham, 30 seconds each way. Rita Mercia will get it fixed to 45 and 30. But as soon as we lose the power for
It's
a
back
second,
to-
back to
Isn't
30
that
and 30.
interesting? So
They-
they're not, the smart lights aren't that smart, I guess.
Methuen has the tree festival, Christmas tree festival. And I think it was about a year or two ago, I worked at the Enterprise. Well, you gotta go to Methuen and put up a tree. Okay, I really don't care, But I guess the town of Methuen had a tree contest, a tree decorating contest. And I think they might have given out the trees, but the businesses would put a tree up, decorate it, and they had. And I'm thinking, with your big festival up there, you have a lot of businesses on Route 3A. Who knows?
That's actually exactly what we do.
Is it really?
Yeah.
They have the same thing now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised how big of an event it was.
But it's, it's, in Tyngsborough, it works because it's quaint in the center of town. You
Right.
can walk from building to building, and she has it set up that as I say, they have the scavenger, the snowman scavenger hunt and things like that. The only thing that I think was probably done was that bridge to nowhere. That's a very bizarre. I don't know how you unscramble that egg,
Can you
but
make that a walking bridge?
that's what it
It is
is.
only a walking
Yeah,
bridge.
that's what they want to do with the University Ave Bridge. I chaired the subcommittee on transportation, and they wanted to save the old University Ave Bridge as a walking bridge or where you could go and sit. And it was gonna cost over $1 million to save that bridge.
Well, it was like the temporary bridge in Tyngsborough.
Yeah.
When they redid the bridge.
That's a
to
walking
keep that.
bridge?
Well, no, that's gone. But they talked about having one going one way, one going the other way.
Yeah.
But the dynamics just weren't there.
Yeah, this pedestrian bridge I can't take credit for. That was my predecessor. There's a town center master plan that hadn't been updated since I think the mid-90s. And in that, there was this visual someone created that had a bridge over the dam
Yeah.
that's in that town, that's in the center, and it was a pedestrian bridge. And so I can remember when he had me. That was a state grant that paid for it. It wasn't local funds. And when he had me apply for the grant, I'm like, there is no chance in the good world that we're going to get this grant. But I did it because I'm a good employee.
Right.
And then we got the grant.
I know.
And I'm like, and not only did we get the grant, this was under the Baker administration, they loved the idea so much that when they did the grant award, they featured our project. And so then I had to, then we had to find a bridge, we had to do the design. I think that it looks nice, it does make for some good photos, but I agree, I think there's a lot of people that don't know
Bizarre.
why there's a bridge
The other
there.
bridge, the first bridge they did
over
Flint
is
Right.
gorgeous.
was lovely.
Well,
and
and
the
it
whole
connects
concept.
two parcels.
Yes, and they have the weddings and the
Yeah.
pictures. It's a great picture up in that with the two buildings and
Yeah.
Flint Pond. It's really quite nice, and
Yeah.
and you can get Rob Kidd to do a fountain for you.
Yes, yes.
If you want
He's
to.
a great neighbor, really.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic
Yeah,
neighbor.
he always was. So I just hope something a little more happens up with where the tea house used to be, and that's a problem.
Yes, there is a bakery going in there now.
Oh, good.
And now I'm forgetting the name of it, but we actually just granted a license to her a couple weeks ago at a select board meeting. Her family owned the property for many years.
Oh, it's Sarah.
It isn't Sarah; it's a cousin of some sort.
Oh, okay.
But she has all kinds of exciting. That bakery that was there when it was Bittersweet was a fantastic bakery.
Oh, she was wonderful. Lynn was wonderful.
Yeah. So this is she's hoping to open at some point in December, and I haven't talked to Sarah in a long time, but she still has a liquor license, and she originally had plans to do like a small venue there where you could have a wedding or some sort of event in a tavern, but I think that I have not heard what her plans are recently.
The problem is parking,
Yeah.
number one. Although, depending on what you're doing behind the Winslow, that could make it, because there are parking spaces, but I remember being at the meeting when she went for the liquor license and wanting to put, that, first of all, it's very dangerous getting in and out of there.
Absolutely.
I know when I had the office across the street, it was like a free-for-all.
Oh, yeah.
Because people come down, they come out of Winslow, and they look to see if there's traffic coming, and they hit the gas. If you just happen to be getting the
Right,
mail.
it's curved, yeah, so you don't, yeah.
You're doomed. But it's just the visual aspect of getting in and out. But they could go behind the church, I
Yeah.
suspect, and do something. But it was successful as a tea house when it was there, and maybe something wine or something
Yeah.
limited might suit them, and a different type of venue than the restaurants up the road.
Correct. Yeah, because it's a different feel.
Yeah,
You want
it
something
is in the center.
smaller.
And now as the center becomes more active and
Yeah.
you're doing more things, it would definitely
So
be.
Colin, got two bones to pick with you this week.
Absolutely. Let's hear it.
First off, why is there no sit-down food at the senior center? Every day you guys pass out food to go. Why can't we sit down and eat at the Tyngsborough Senior Center?
So you can, not every day. We do
Just on special days.
We do lunch every Friday. I think the pass out meals you're talking about are our Meals on Wheels.
Yeah.
Which we are I call it the warehouse, but the food comes in from H-Band to the Tyngsborough COA. We distribute
What's
actually.
H-Band?
It's the state agents. It used to be Elder Affairs in Massachusetts. They've rebranded.
I think if they keep changing the names, you won't catch on to them.
So those meals then go out with volunteers to residents who get Meals on Wheels, both in Tyngsborough and Dunstable. Every Friday we do lunch, and then
Why just Friday?
I think it has to do a combination of staffing and the demand. We have 2 full-time employees that work at the.
So when you have lunch on Friday, how many show?
I think it varies. Sometimes it's as little as 10, but sometimes it's as much as
Because Linda
25.
looked at it, because right now, with the Wednesday people who do City Life, we're doing the rounds of all the senior center lunches. And we're puzzled to find out there's no lunch in Tyngsborough. So
Yeah.
I says, hey, Linda, check into Tyngsborough. And there's no lunch in Tyngsborough.
No lunch. Yeah, no lunch every day.
And
It's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, the Council on Aging, which is the board that oversees. what
Are you
we now
happy with the
call-
population you get at the Tyngsborough
Oh, yeah.
Senior Center every day?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because we went to Drake it last week. There were no parking spaces left. It's unbelievably popular.
Yeah. No, we get people, depending on the day and what the event is. Tuesday's a big day. We do bingo every Tuesday. People from Chelmsford, Lowell, Tyngsborough, Dunstable, Westford come. And we've recently started doing evening programming. Our Council on Aging, which is the board that oversees the activities there, has spent a lot of time reframing the Council on Aging. We now call it the Center for Active Living. I think for a while it was not a place that younger seniors wanted to go. And
Well, you only got to be 60.
yeah. Well, that's what I
Yeah,
mean.
but-
That's why we want. I consider that a younger senior.
Yeah.
And so now we do all kinds of nighttime programming. This Wednesday is a program on coping with dementia and simultaneously a conversation for caregivers of people with dementia. Every other Wednesday they do nighttime bingo. They do dancing. So we're actively revamping the Council on Aging. I think, our challenge obviously is staffing. There's only 2 full-time people, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that and every month there's 4 or 5 special events where there is a hot meal served during the day. But you're certainly correct, it's not every day.
Because everybody else has meals every day. Just a FYI.
Yep.
What's the population of
You can
Tyngsborough?
go to Chelmsford.
Just about 12,500.
12,000,
We'll
okay,
try
good.
that.
Chelmsford has it every day. And
Right down the street.
Drake it and
Drake has it every day too?
Drake it has it. You have to register a week ahead of time.
Okay.
And so if you want to go to lunch, well, you can't go to lunch there
Yeah.
because you're not 60. But Marty and I could go to lunch there because we're over 60.
We're over 60.
But you have to. But if you show up without a reservation, you're not getting any
Okay.
food because they'll say, "What's your name? You're not on the list. Go away." And same thing with Tewksbury, unless you register a week ahead. But Lowell, you walk right in. Chelmsford, we walked right in, and so we're making a reservation for the 3rd time in Tewksbury this week because we missed by a day. Because we go on Wednesdays. But that's a long story short. Just wanted. I'll beat you up about the column after the turn of the hour
Okay.
Oh.
because you guys were in the column over the weekend.
We were. I don't know. I don't think you have to beat me up over. I think it was a wonderful story.
Well, you get to correct the little son if did they get it right.
This one they did, but we can talk about that when
And
you're ready.
I will argue with you. I think that your selectmen are worth more money.
Sure.
Well, but you even think the council should get more.
What would it take for you to run for selectman, Linda?
It has nothing to do with the money.
Okay.
That's the whole
If
thing.
it was 25 grand, would you consider?
No. I don't think you can put a price on any of that.
Linda, for a youngster to run, somebody like Colin to run, you got to make it. Their kids have cell phones, they have cable TV, they have internet, they have so many expenses that you got to make the pay worth their while.
But
That's
they're
just my
also,
take.
because they have so many expenses, they're working long hours, they're going into the city, they've got that horrible commute.
I think don't get me wrong, the select board is a job I would never run for. It's thankless. It doesn't matter what decision you make, somebody's going to hate you for it. My only concern about making it something about the money is then people run for the wrong reasons. I think if you look at all of our elected positions in Tyngsborough, they run truly because they care about the town, and I think that makes...
Well, no,
I think
also,
that helps
but
to make better
I'll kick you
decisions.
back there. Only rich people can run.
No, I get that argument as well. Certainly, if I was raising a family, I wouldn't be able to... But then again, if I was raising a family, it might be less about the money and more about the time commitment.
Yeah.
The schools,
Being able to-
things like that.
Yeah.
So
Recreation.
after 7 o'clock, we'll argue about this.
Okay,
a little bit.
yeah.
I got a question. One time, and I believe this is part of Tyngsborough.
Marty, just drag that mic closer to you, please.
If they had an issue, it was usually over by, what is it, Lakeview, you would call it,
Yeah.
over there with the bars, and
Yeah, be
Is that
very
s-
careful now, go ahead.
is that slowed down over there?
Yeah, actually it
I
is.
haven't read anything in the longest time.
Well, we used to, when I was growing up, I had 14 liquor licenses within a mile.
Linda had lots of options.
Yes, because you allowed liquor licenses by your population. They took the population in the summer when everybody, and it was all camps.
Oh, it was all camps,
And
right.
so you had the Willowdale, you had what became the Bell Ring of the Rainbow Spa, the Banjo, you had them everywhere. And
Yep, right.
so, and now in the Paradise, OJ's, I mean, I could go on and on and on. It was, but I had Drake-It right there as well. No, I think it's all become very residential. Our
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah,
problem is Drake-It water.
I haven't
there.
read any, it was funny, years ago, I was taking a course up at UMass Lowell in chemistry, and we had to go out and get water samples, so I took it from Lakeview, and brought it into school, and the professor said, you did something wrong. The sodium levels can't be this high. Where'd you get it? So it was Lakeview. And I said, yeah. I says, well, you got to go out and take another one. So I went out and took another one, same thing. And I says, you don't realize, I said, you're not familiar with the area. The road's here, the water's here. So if you're salting, or you're putting, and it was in probably December, early December, I said, once they start salting, the water's right there.
Yeah.
And it says there may be an issue with some septic, so I thought that was cleared up.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe he said, I can't believe how high it is.
In fact, the feds came in and paid for all the septic around. It was mandated
Yes.
to hook up the septic
Yeah.
over there. But there were, right on the Dracut line there, right in Dracut, there were 4 bars right in a row. There.
Oh, yeah, they were.
But everybody came out to the lake for in fact, the trolley came right out to there
Right.
and stopped. And we had the park and we had the merry-go-round and
The Willowdale, that was a big place.
the
at
Willow.
one time.
Why is it, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, people used to swim across the lake to the Willowdale.
Yeah.
You could swim from if it was so. In fact, our police chief got drowned, got hit by somebody.
Oh, really?
In a boat, yeah.
We used to do that on Long Pond,
Yeah.
across the way.
Yeah.
A friend of the family had a place in, but we had a rowboat in front of us, and we would swim the length and then come back.
Yeah.
But we had a rowboat in case someone
Yeah.
got sick or they had a hamstring
Yeah,
pull. But you're right about
But you
it.
didn't have as many motorboats back then either. Did that ever calm down, the jet skiers?
This is going to be my last complaint about the state, I promise. No. Well, it did because the season ended. This, for those that don't remember this Lake Muscuppick, which is the lake that we're talking about, has a state-managed public access boat ramp on the Dracut side. 88% of the lake is in Tyngsborough. In the summertime, people come, and I'm not joking, you can look at the police ticket data, from as far away as Revere, Everett, Malden,
Yeah.
to use the lake. And so at any time in the summer on a really nice day, you could have a couple dozen jet skis, all that aren't residents of the lake, driving like jerks, causing complete havoc. So we wanted to limit the number of outside watercraft that could enter the lake because it was only a matter of time before somebody died, like happened on the Merrimack River, unfortunately, in 2017.
Right.
And the state was totally uncooperative. They have since installed a security camera at the boat ramp, but a security camera can't stop the jet skis. So we are fortunate, and I'll give Representative Gary credit for this. She got us a $25,000 earmark in the fiscal year 26 budget to fund overtime patrols in our marine unit.
Right.
So we'll have
That will do it.
officers out there. But the real fix, and what we've proposed to the state, and they were incredibly uncooperative on, was allowing Dracut, which is the town that has a deal with the state for this boat ramp, to charge for day passes, which is not uncommon. If you go to any of the major lakes in New Hampshire, if you don't live on the lake, you can buy a day pass.
Mm-hmm.
They sell a limited number of passes every day. There's only 7 trailer parking spots in this boat ramp. So if you sold 7 passes a day, the revenue from selling the passes would pay for somebody during the busy hours to sit at the boat ramp. And once those 7 spots are taken, no more outside watercraft are allowed on. And the 7 spots is because the state itself does this fancy calculation that I couldn't explain. That based on the acreage of the lake and the number of houses, they do this formula that tells you how many outside watercraft it can handle, and the number is 7. The problem is people are, we stopped a group of people driving recklessly at the end of August, told them they had to get off. They couldn't take their jet skis out. There were 5 of them because they paid somebody to trailer them in from Everett, and then that person left for the day. So now these jet skis are on there. So our solution, I think, is a simple one. The state was uninterested in it, and instead we got a security camera, which, as we all know, can't stop excess. So it's quiet now because it's cold.
Yeah.
And Dracut, to their credit, passed a bylaw at their town meeting Monday that prohibits beaching watercraft on public land, which was a problem. So, we're taking baby steps, but until the state really participates in the conversation, we're kind of...
They don't do anything in any of the bodies of water in the state. They're real. It's a department.
We do get a lot of support from Mass Environmental Police. I'll give them credit, but they're limited.
Yeah.
And they were telling us, we had a meeting over the summer. The governor has directed them to spend most of their time at the state-owned swimming pools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they'll swing by Lake Muscuppick on their way back from one of those pools, but because they were at a pool, they don't have their boats with them. So they're just watching the mishaps from the shore, and that's through no fault of their own. So it's really Fish and Wildlife is the agency that manages the boat ramp. There's an obscure state agency called the Office of Fishing and Boating Access, because it's Massachusetts. We had a very unproductive meeting with them, and again, they're more interested in saying that they're helping than I think actually helping.
Yeah.
And I'll get off my soapbox about the state
We,
for the rest of the day.
I hadn't had a hunting license in 30 years, so I said, I'm going to apply because after the age of 70, everything's free. So I said, I'll get it this year and just renew them. Hunting, fishing, salt water's free over 62, I think. And so if you had a license prior to 2003, you can just sign up. And I said, well, how much is the new training? They said, nothing. It's free. Mass Fish and Game, I'll go, it was great. But the environmental police were there, and he said, well, I got to go to Boston. The Governor Healy wants us at the pools. Mm-hmm. So I used to go to lunch a lot at Demoulas's in the acre. I would walk over from the bank. They're always there. And these are
cool.
These are the police you're talking about who do the rivers, the lakes, and things like that.
Yeah.
Illegal poaching in the towns.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And no, they're at the swimming pools.
Yeah, which is too bad. But, and you're right. Unfortunately, you don't want an accident like happened in the river. But that did slow it down in the river.
And then where did they end up?
Yeah.
They ended up on Lake Muscoppic. So it's a challenge.
Muscoppic is not a big lake.
No.
We don't have huge. Long Pond is obviously much larger. But then you have the dynamics of New Hampshire.
Correct. Which takes this all very seriously. There's no doubt if we were in New Hampshire, there would be...
Well, they did the regional dispatch through NEMCOG. Maybe that's something you could do through NEMCOG, is funding for the different police to come up from Lowell. They had one at the falls, all the way up to North Chelmsford, all the way up to Tyngsborough, all the way up to the line. And maybe NEMCOG could get more money for grants for safe boating.
Oh, yeah, because we have a boat.
We do. Fortunately, the Lake Association, Lake Muscoppic Association, they've donated. Now, this is the second patrol boat they've donated to the town. And so we use the town's operating budget to fund shifts on the river, on the lake, rather. Now, with this earmark, we'll be able to use, and $25,000 will get us a good portion of the summer.
But the river, it's like the roads, when it's a straightaway, that's when you get the speeding. And they're telling me the people who have boats on the Merrimack, these jet skiers are just out of control.
Oh, they're terrible.
And so, hey, if you could get something through NEMCOG.
And do you want to get these two?
Senator Loiselle has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? I hear there is a seat up for grabs somewhere close by.
That's awfully kind, but again, I'm happy in Tyngsborough.
Paradise Donut and Lefties, blast from the past.
Yeah. They, you have two people running from Lowell right now, at least two. And if they split the vote, someone from the towns could easily come in and take that seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you never know what will happen there.
I don't know if anyone.
What powerhouse do the towns offer?
What's that?
What powerhouse do the towns offer?
Well, how close did Carla come? How did she do in her vote?
Republican?
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Well,
the thing is, with
he's a redcoat. Redcoat can't win. Sorry, it's Massachusetts.
Everett Gitchia touched on it the other day. Now with the regional school, you have to run in every district. So members of the regional school have run the ballot in all of these towns. And so they have name familiarity with the residents. But, someone from the towns could step in if Lowell splits the vote. Lowell's only getting, 10,000 people to vote now in city elections?
and it's going to be an odd time. Those those special elections are
Well,
tough.
in February or March.
Tough to get a vote out.
This first election will be in the towns as well. You're going to be voting in Dunstable.
Yeah.
So if you get a snowstorm out there.
Oh, it's not going to be pleasant. Even
But
in the winter,
it's
you can't get them out on a sunny day.
Just looking at it from a political point of view, you split the vote in Lowell, and you can work the towns. You have a good shot.
Yeah, well, if you stop and you look at the dynamics of the two running, I would think that Rodney is more familiar in the town. He's running the towns.
Well, he's doing a ton of work over in Drake right now.
Yeah.
Plus, he worked for Phil Shea and for
And
years.
as I say, he was the speaker at the Veterans dedication yesterday in Chelmsford.
Yeah.
So he's out there.
Oh, he has been, yeah.
We're going off to break land, and we'll be back. Thanks.
welcome back to City Life. I'm Linda Bown. I'm your host. I have Town Manager Colin Loiselle from Tyngsborough and former Councilor Marty Lorrey. And we've been talking an awful lot about Tyngsborough. I'm obviously very happy with my manager here, and he's done a fine job, but I guess there was an article in the column on
Yeah, there
Sunday.
was. There was an article in the column. Give me a minute to pull the thing up from the Sunday Sun, and Colin found it positive,
Yeah.
and I think that you guys don't pay your elected officials enough money, so we'll see what happens.
It just, well, we're doing, I think that course that you've been running has just flourished.
Mhm.
It's very effective. And it's going strong, right? You
Very
see
strong, yeah.
That the volunteers are going and learning about town, because I know when people come in from the city, town government is so much more different than the city. They don't understand the town meeting, that you can actually get up
Yeah.
and make a
They
difference.
participate.
Yeah,
And it's so nuanced.
pure form of government, except that you whipped through that meeting in 43 minutes.
I know. Remarkable.
So it was
But I
kind
think that has to do, the moving fast is because we take a new approach, and this column kind of talks about it. We spend weeks leading up to town meeting now giving people the information that they need. It used to just be that you would show up, you had no clue what was on the warrant, you were seeing some of the items for the first
Right.
time. And I think that a lot of people saw that as you being sneaky.
and intimidating
Yeah.
also. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now, we don't
Well,
play that
special
game.
town meetings, if you're going to be sneaky, that's where you do
Yeah.
sneaky things. So,
So voter turnout still lags, was the article. And this is the article that many people enjoyed by Peter Currier. I'll slide over so you guys can see the whole, I got the top of this guy. Okay, and my takeaway for the article was not enough people voting, not enough people running. And we live in a world today that asks, why aren't people interested in local government anymore? State government, federal government, they're just not interested. Puzzling. You got any solutions?
I do. I'll tell you why they're not interested in state and federal government, because they see the dysfunction. I think that they are interested in local government, no matter what I know that voting could be better, but I think that when you have, and we talked earlier in the program about how some of the projects that we've done have been largely driven by residents. When residents are involved in the process, they are far more engaged. You can't call your congresswoman or congressman and get them on the phone. You can call town hall and talk to them. You can stop by town hall. You can call your select board members. We have a lot of work to do. I think that what we've done in Tyngsborough that is unique is that we flip the script, right? A lot of times, local leaders sit there and say, well, how come people aren't engaged? How can we get people to come to our meetings? In Tyngsborough, we start the opposite way. We say, how do we get to people? And so we've increased the way we communicate, whether it's through simple things like our social media, I'd argue, is probably one of the most well managed in the area. Our website is updated daily. We know that people are seeing it because we can view how many people open the news stories, how many people subscribe to the alerts. But then we also started doing, and what the next column story was about, was our Civic Leadership Academy. One of the reasons I think people don't get involved, particularly in local government, is because it can be so darn confusing. Town meeting is weird, town meeting is intimidating, and if you don't know how town meeting works, if you don't understand how the budget works, you're probably not going to stand up and potentially make a fool of yourself in front of 200 of your neighbors. So our Civic Leadership Academy, which we launched for the first time last year, was designed with one simple purpose, which is to give people a baseline understanding of how Tyngsborough operates, the different nuances, and how they can get involved so that they feel comfortable running for office, applying to serve on some of the appointed boards. And we just completed our second year. The story talks about how we graduated 9 residents at the Select Board's meeting on November 3rd. We've had about 20 participants in the 2 years. 5 of them now are serving on an appointed board or committee, so they felt confident enough to apply to serve. 2 of them have been elected to elected office. 3 of them ran. 1 was unsuccessful. And you can see the engagement. I mean, watch any of our select board meetings in September or early October. You had anywhere up to 15 people speak at Citizen and Business Time, all incredibly respectful. So I guess the solution is that cities and towns have to rethink how they engage people. Nobody is showing up to town hall to get information anymore. That's not happening. You can't expect that someone's going to reach out to you to ask questions about the budget. And so on the budget front, we do office hours. Every year before town meeting, I host 3 different office hours. One's in the evening, one's virtual, one's in the day at the Center for Active Living. And the budget is dumbed down to a 5th grade level, which works for me because that's my level that I operate at. And it lets people understand our budget is $51 million this fiscal year. It's impossible for the average resident on their own to figure out where the money goes. But if they can spare 30 minutes to listen to my presentation, then they go to town meeting far more prepared. And to your point earlier, because we do all of this work before town meeting, our last town meeting was less than 45 minutes.
You run a nice town out there. I still think your
Are they televised?
elected officials are worth more money.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think if you look at the folks that we have serving on appointed boards or elected boards right now, Tyngsborough is incredibly fortunate. I think part of the reason that we're so fortunate is because since money isn't a factor, they're running and putting themselves through what is sometimes an incredibly difficult job simply because they really love the town. And
I wish Rick Rowe were here because Rick gives me great pushback, but I think that the salary should be doubled.
I won't argue that point, but I would just say people like Linda. Linda serves on our Conservation Commission. Linda gets a whopping check for $0 every year.
Linda, we can add a 0 to that.
But Linda does this knowing that, and I'm sure it's happened, I've seen some of the cases, if the Conservation Commission makes a decision that somebody doesn't like, they can get sued. Now, of course, the town defends people like Linda, but there's not many people who aren't totally in love with their town, who aren't totally committed to doing the right thing, that would subject themselves to that, even if you gave them a stipend of 10 grand. And so I think there's a balance between, you're right, John, and we've talked about this before, if you're not rich, if you're not well off, it's tougher to run, particularly if you have to spend money to campaign. But I also think that we do benefit from the fact that right now people are running for office not because of the money, but because of the love they have for the town. But I won't disagree with you that it's a thankless job and worth more than they currently make.
Well, again, the academy does inform people that come to a town, what town government is.
Right.
But
Can we expand to the audience what the academy is? How do you get involved with it? Do you have to be a townie? You have to be a you have to be a Tyngsborough townie to get in there?
So no, we run. It's called the Civic Leadership Academy. We launched it last year. It runs every year from August to October. Typically, they graduate at a fall town meeting. This year, we didn't have one. We start enrolling participants in the middle of June, and the application is open through the end of July. You don't necessarily have to be a Tyngsborough resident, but because there are limited spots, we do give priority to Tyngsborough residents. And the reason that we didn't restrict it to just Tyngsborough residents is because there are business owners in town who aren't residents. To date, though, every single one of our participants has been a Tyngsborough resident. And it's a 6-week, 8 weeks this year, crash course on all things Tyngsborough. So we bring every single department head participates. We have a curriculum that we follow. They learn how the school department operates. They learn how the police department operates. And we sprinkle in like show and tell, kind of more hands-on learning to make it interesting.
What kind of attendance do you get?
When people enroll, they attend every single one. Last year, we had 15 participants.
Okay.
This year, we started with 11. We had 9 graduate.
Okay.
And it costs you, this is the thing that is, we talk a lot about return on investment. The select board that we have is very interested in that. We do it completely during normal business hours. As some of you may know, Tyngsborough is open until 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. And so the classes start at 6. It's an hour every week. Sometimes it goes a little longer. But so we're not paying staff extra money to come in and teach the class. We're not renting space. So it's completely within our operating budget. And so if we get 9, I'm happy with 9. We'd love to get closer to 15 every time. But of these 9 that just graduated, they graduated on November 3rd. And on November 3rd, 2 of them were appointed to a board or committee. So it is absolutely working, and we're not the first ones. I mean, cities and towns across the Commonwealth have been doing it to some extent. But it is really just a completely unfiltered. We don't pre-screen the presentations that department heads provide. So it's not like we're trying to force a narrative. They're just telling you how they run their department. each class starts with the breakdown of that department's budget, so you know where the money goes, you know where there's potentially room for growth. But it's a great program. We've had a lot of really positive feedback, and again, I think the numbers show that it's working.
Good.
We're fortunate, Colin's young, and I think he has ideas that are young. And he's got a good group around him, like with
Absolutely.
Allison,
Yep.
that bring in, and so when you get, like even the school building committee, when Lowell was going through their building and Tyngsborough was going, Hillary, they were meeting every month.
Mm-hmm.
Lowell met once every 15 months or something. It was bizarre.
They weren't showing up.
Just like,
They weren't.
and so it came in under budget and it did certain things. And I think that when you can reach out and get the volunteers for the recreation commission and committee and make it fun, and then they do hive off and they meet people. When you get involved, when I was a lot younger and doing that type of thing.
Just drag that mic to you, Lynn.
Huh?
Drag that mic to you.
Oh, you used to, you're involved with the people, and so that you're in a committee like that, and you say, oh, gee, I met Marty, he's done conservation, I'm kind of interested in that, or planning, or whatever. And so we're filling a lot of the positions.
Yes, I was just going to look. I don't think that we have more than 1 or 2 vacancies
Yeah.
right now.
And we have waiting, I know, in conservation.
Colin,
Well, we used to have a lot.
what's the average age in Tyngsborough? Can you speak to that? Seems
We're
like
still an older demographic, but it is becoming much younger. We're, as younger families are moving into town, but we still are predominantly
just
a lot.
based by how many kids go to stuff, and they're like, wow, there's a lot of kids in this town.
Yeah.
The demographic has certainly changed. I think, I don't have the percentage. I know we are still largely that 50-plus age group, and I think some of that still is the fact that it's really hard to buy your first home in Tyngsborough. It's incredibly expensive. People want to, and as folks are able to downsize, which is tough now too, it's changing, but we are still a larger. But when you look at who's getting involved, it is now younger people. It's new faces, people who I'm meeting for the first time, applying to serve on boards and committees.
Well, we do have Mother Nature creeping, as Linda said to me this morning, not liking this cold weather.
No.
Well, one thing about Tyngsborough, you talk about the age, you have that country feel, but what are you, 10 minutes away from Lowell General? 10 minutes away if you had is it St. Joe's in Nashua?
Yep.
Yeah. So you have
Southern New Hampshire, they're right there. Southern
Yeah.
New Hampshire's just,
So, you do have that country feel and you do have farms, but yet
and the highway's there.
the highway,
You can jump up and that's, I remember years ago when when I was first married to Bown, we had a piece of property out in Mass Park. I said, oh my God, it takes way too long to go to Mass
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to have access to everything. And
Yeah.
so it's,
The highway's made a huge impact.
it's so everything, but it is, and now Dunstable's beginning to get expanded. They've got their first 40B out there.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. They're gonna bring sewage, and you bring sewage, they will come,
Yeah.
because all the zoning changes.
Yeah.
So, it's, I'm quite pleased. And now we have a highway department. How's now the cemetery is involved in that, right? Who's included in the
And you
highway?
want to grab this one before we get,
I agree with you, Mr. McDonough, considered by offering stipends for board members to offset costs like childcare or transportation will attract more citizens. I also agree with that all public officials should be compensated.
yeah.
That too, appropriately considering the time and effort they all put in. When was the last time they all got a raise? Like in the city of Lowell, where it's a 24/7 job. And
Just a few years ago,
Thanks, Jeannie.
when I was on the council, I think it was $250 a week. It was like 12.5. Now it's 25,000. But to the texter's point, you're talking 300,000 because the mayor gets a little bit extra for board of directors. What's the budget this year? 560 million. So you're talking a very, very small percentage of the budget. And Lowell can be, 24/7.
Yeah.
For some it isn't.
I agree.
Yeah.
Elected office is not, you're right there. But again, I'm, in Tyngsborough, we have a manager that you can, anybody that I have asked, has come to me about it, and I've said, well, call Colin, and they've all gotten through. They all get through.
You've had a couple really good managers. The last one was very good. And where did he go?
Burlington or Bedford.
Did he? Yeah. Nice guy. He's a great guy.
Colin's better.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
He
Yes.
served on NEMCOG also.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he served for Chelmsford as the Board of
Well,
Selectmen.
I think it was, yeah,
Yeah, he
Or
was.
Tyngsborough.
He's a good kid, but Colin's a better fit.
I agree.
Because when I would go to cemeteries, Marty, and it's a municipal cemetery, they'd always be grumbling. Once Colin came in, they loved the place. Oh, yeah, Colin, he makes sure we have what we need.
Yeah.
Not more than we need. He makes sure we have what we need. He makes sure everybody's okay. If you're crappy, he'll say, what's your problem? He wants to help you out.
Well,
Colin's
you
a
were
different manager.
assistant town manager for a while, or?
Yeah, I started as an unpaid intern actually in 2017. And then I worked in our finance department for a little bit. I was the executive assistant to the town manager and then the assistant.
It's funny because that's how you see a lot of public officials come up now. Connor Baldwin, who I think is the best CFO in the state,
Very smart guy.
he started, when I was on the council, he was in HR and then moved up, and Kevin Murphy brought him in as, I think, CFO, but he also had the former city manager from Cambridge working part-time. So he got a great education. But it's good to see the growth in municipal government as people come up the ladder. At one time, it was all political. Now you see towns searching out candidates who have a lot of experience.
Well, I know that, John, and other people always say to me, you're going to lose Colin. But I see it a little different. I see him young, but I also see a young town, and being able to mold that town in the direction.
Right.
I think, and if you look at different towns and you see who they had and that stayed, you had the consistency, it makes a difference.
Oh,
But you
Chelmsford.
got to want to do it.
Look at Chelmsford with Cohen. He's done a great job out there. And Drake had Dennis Panjak for 28
Yeah.
years. Lowell has people for 48 months.
I know.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And but yeah, the towns have been very lucky over the years. The select person have been very good on who they hire and in their searches.
Well, I mean, Colin came in, we just had established a town manager. I was not really in favor of it at the time, but now I have confidence. I think it's a fabulous thing. Because you have the selectmen that have the input, that the people can reach out and they can sort of be a buffer, of, so to speak.
And it's not just the finances and the experience. Tyngsborough is a growing town, and
Well,
it's
that's
that
just it.
experience on how to accept the growth, where to put the growth, and you guys do a great job.
We have a
out there.
young police chief, we have a young
Yeah.
fire chief, we have a young manager, and a superintendent of schools is relatively young.
Yeah.
So it's sort of they all work together. I don't, we have a little different thing in with the schools, that they don't get the funding that you get in Lowell, so
Right.
you have to be able to work with
Right.
each other, the departments. And I know in the past, it was always, we were button heads, the school versus town government. And I don't think we see that anymore.
No, Dr. Flanagan and the school committee have been a tremendous partner. Obviously, 5 years ago, we agreed that the school department would stick to a 2.7% increase for 5 years to help mitigate the impact of the new middle school, the tax implication. This fiscal 27, what we're already planning for, the next year budget, is the first year where they don't have a set increase. But just to demonstrate, the level of cooperation and partnership with the school department, I met with them for the first time about next year's budget 2 weeks ago. And I watch as sport select board meetings in other towns. And you see just the Lowell Sun has covered, I'm not saying anything nobody knows, Lowell Sun has covered extensively the dispute between the town side and the school side in Drayton, and
Right.
it's gotten nasty.
Oh, it used to be too in Tyngsborough.
Incredible. I met with Dr. Flanagan. We weren't even 2 minutes in, and his approach is, how's the budget? What can you afford? Not, here's everything I need. There's no if I don't get this, then, I'm going to have to lay off this number of people. And when we come to an agreement on a number, there's no doubt that he's going to stick to that. And we, health insurance is a crisis. The cost is going to be outrageous in fiscal 27. I'm sure of it. And he's aware of that, and he's comfortable level funding, the same 2.7% increase, in the next year. And there was no argument. There was no back and forth. So we're incredibly lucky. He knows the schools like the back of his hand. Similar to me, I think he got his start in the school district. Yeah. So no, we have a fantastic relationship. The staff over there are great. We work very well together, and there's just no disagreement. I mean, we're all in it for the benefit of the whole town. We don't see ourselves as it's us versus them.
No, you didn't see when the school came up, and of course we needed a fire station. Mm-hmm. You didn't see that animosity at all.
Right.
And so now it's time for the fire. And way back, I remember that's how it used to be when I was on finance, that you'd capital plan and figure,
right.
that, and everybody would sit together and say, well, you need the fire station today, so to speak, but we do need the school. And I see that happening again, and it's really encouraging.
Well, I think the budgets are being strained. The state of Massachusetts is really pushing for more housing, and it's what type of housing you get. Now, if you get condos or you get a lot of apartments, you have more students coming in, and there's a huge cost on your schools. And the taxes that those condo units will pay don't offset the cost of the schools.
No.
And it's hard, and I don't know if Tyngsborough's been affected. Drake has a lot of condos, and I've seen them built up. Tewksbury's getting a lot of condos, and a lot of families moving in, which is great. But it does put a strain on the towns. Yeah.
Well, in the towns, again, and I hate to keep patting him on the back, but you've got to have a working relationship with the businesses.
Yeah.
And to increase to make them participate, they have to be involved and engage with the community for it to be successful between the businesses and the community.
I was surprised, well, not surprised, the Wheeler family bought Mom's. And they opened up the Indian motorcycle.
Yeah.
And that they also bought out 3A, which was Kawasaki. And down the street, I guess they merged them both together. But that's a big, big business out there in Tyngsborough.
Yep.
And I have 2 motorcycles. But that's a big business. And they've invested a lot of money, I think, in the town of Tyngsborough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot of work to make sure that our businesses are happy, whether it's through permitting, both for businesses we're trying to attract and existing businesses. Daryl Wickens in the Sports Center is a great example. That's a longtime business owner who's expanding his current property. His value is going to go up. That contributes to the tax base. But he's always a Tyngsborough first kind of person. What's best for the town? How can I volunteer? And we try to make it as easy as possible by expediting permitting before people go before the Conservation Commission or the Planning Board. Every staff member that has their hand in the process has already met with them, helped them understand the process, addressed some of the major issues. Emily, our conservation agent, is tremendous. So unlike in other communities where you go to the planning board and then there's all these surprises and you've got to revise your plans and you could be 8, 9, 10 months out, we try to get that ahead of time because we know that we need businesses to expand and to grow, to survive. Municipalities are limited to the Prop 2.5. I'm probably unique in that I certainly wouldn't advocate for eliminating the Prop 2.5 limit. I think the state collects enough money to increase local aid. Instead, they put the pressure on cities and towns to do these override votes. When the money exists somewhere in the state budget, if you look at how our state aid has increased, it's far less than the cost of inflation. And so it makes it very tough. And because we're cognizant of that, I think that's why you've seen we've avoided a lot of the economic pressures that our neighbors have because we've grown measurably and not rapidly.
Well, one of the questions I've always had, the city of Lowell is much older than the towns, so their business center is in downtown. But Burlington, Billerica, Chelmsford, after Route 3 was built, they zoned those businesses out by the highway. Yeah. Has Tyngsborough been lucky with that, or do you have enough land out there?
Yeah, most of I would say probably 90% of our businesses are along the Middlesex Road, Westford Road corridor, right by the highway. There are some older businesses, like in Linda's neighborhood, there's a restaurant and bar that's been there for long before zoning existed. But yes, nowadays, almost all of our commercial is on that Westford Road, Middlesex Road corridor.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
because Nashua did the same.
Yeah.
Nashua rebuilt when the highway really expanded in that area, Daniel Webster. So I was just wondering, the towns were very lucky and they zoned well.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it.
From Burlington up,
and,
yeah.
And you have to look towards where you want to go with that, and with the highway, and why wouldn't you try to capitalize on that? And I'm
Right.
just so pleased with what has happened. Now, I know there's a traffic problem with Middlesex Road, but that, you can deal with that once you know what's happening.
Right, yeah. It's certainly not catastrophic.
And so, and I don't think that, I just don't see New Hampshire being a great working partner
No.
at all. And it's going to be very interesting up on the Frost Road end when the is it Target distributors that's going in. That traffic is going to really ramp up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens there. But
I think that they had to do some mitigation. I think that they had to direct most of their traffic back toward,
the
you know,
bridge in Hudson, was
yes, yeah.
It's unfortunate that they couldn't get a curb cut. They couldn't get a cut right onto the highway themselves.
Yeah.
Because that sort of would have solved everybody's
Oh, yeah.
problem.
I'm sure their businesses like the traffic, and they don't want the traffic going south. They want it coming north.
Yeah.
After the Pheasant Lane Mall, there's nothing but stores all the way down.
Yeah.
And until the access road into Hudson.
Yeah.
And they do well.
Because then we have the Frost Road as a state road, really, even though we maintain it.
Yeah, because it's the numbered road.
Now, maybe if the traffic picks up there, I just don't want them to expand it. When builders come in and they say, "Oh, look at the plan here. It's lovely. We're going to have trees here," and I always say, "Yeah, why don't you look around at the center of town? What they did when they opened up this?" And they said, "Oh, I remember the picture of all the trees, and the state never came back and mowed the grass or did a bloody thing." So when they propose things, when the state comes in, I'm very suspicious of who's going to benefit.
Automatic red flag.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Linda, there's also a big fear amongst retailers about Amazon.com taking away their business.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get 6-inch pink shoelaces delivered to your house this afternoon.
And
Why
shop
go to the
from
store?
work. People are shopping from work all the time at lunch, but they just laid off, 150,000
Yeah.
employees?
Mechanized AI.
Yeah.
AI is big time.
Oh, it's all the money for research and development's going into AI now, and the layoffs are being affected.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when you see, I still run a cash register up at Walgreens, and God bless technology, but when it doesn't work,
Yeah.
and it often doesn't work,
I'd rather see the item, whether
well,
it's
that's-
closed.
yeah. I just.
I would rather
But
see the
they make it so easy for them to send it back.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other thing. They don't. It's amazing to me how much goes back to Amazon.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I think it's hurt the social aspect. People would get out, downtown Lowell or the malls. People would plan to go out, and whether they bought anything or not, they'd go out for the night and maybe go to dinner or go. And now with Amazon, everyone's locked to their computer at home. And I don't think it's good. I think it causes a lot of problems.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
You need
I mean,
that.
that's just me.
Well, I would like to think people learned something from COVID.
Yeah.
The human
the
aspect.
phones are also antisocial. When my daughter-in-law works for JetBlue, she's a flight attendant, and I asked her, how bad are the cell phones on the plane? And she says, people don't pay attention. They got their movie cooking, and they'll push their button looking for their Coca-Cola and say, well, you skipped me. No, I didn't. You didn't even look up at me when I was there. You were watching your movie.
Yeah.
In restaurants, you see families sitting together, they all got their phone out.
Well, I know. In
And
education.
most people watching this show have their phone out right now and they're fanning through whatever.
I saw a nice cartoon. There were several people there, and they didn't realize they were dead because they had their phones in their hands still.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. So do we have, now, you go back to the budget
Mhm.
and the fact that our budget, everything's online, everything's posted online in Tyngsborough.
Yeah.
Anything you need is there, if you want to know. And I have to say, I was not an advocate of the sign in the middle of
This
Tyngsborough.
warms my heart, Linda, every time you bring it up, so carry on.
And I really love it now.
Yeah.
I always make a point to look and see what's on the sign, which I never thought I would do. And even now, the Vogue has a tasteful one.
Mhm.
Anything happening with Stonehenge? What is going on down there?
You know, a few months, not a few months ago, it's probably 5 or 6 months ago, we received this flyer in the mail about a grand reopening.
Yeah.
And then we weren't able to reach anybody, and I was talking to somebody not too long ago that said that they never went through. So I'm not sure what's happening.
There's another sign back out, grand reopening.
Interesting, okay.
So I was just curious if anybody, supposedly they brought a chef from
Yeah, that's
the
right.
North
Yeah.
End, and it was going to be all, and I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
I was kind of excited because it's a
Yeah.
wonderful facility.
It is.
Beautiful.
And I don't know how well it's been renovated after they had a problem with the ceilings and water damage.
Yeah, we often will when businesses do reopenings or things. We're involved, and the manager had reached out to me and our economic development director over a year ago now, talking about all the changes that they made
The
and
coffee, the cafe.
yeah,
Yes, you
and I don't
were
think-
just coming on as manager, and that was the last I ever heard of the cafe.
Yeah, I don't know that it's there anymore. Well, I will follow up before the
Yeah.
next time I'm on, and maybe I'll have a more
Yeah,
productive
because
update.
it's
Because it's a beautiful, beautiful venue.
it really
it's
is.
got a lot of potential.
And there's no hotel in Lowell. So anybody that would be coming in for an event, I would think it would be a good place for them.
Yeah.
Particularly with the university parents, they must have things.
Yeah.
We still got the hotel at Industrial Ave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Where?
Industrial Ave.
right off.
Oh,
the
that's
connector.
right, too. I always think of that as being rent by the month or something, that facility, a residence type of, no,
Don't know.
okay. Well, you mean it wasn't taken over by the governor for the homeless and the refugees?
No, they went out to Chelmsford.
I was going to
Yes.
say, how did they escape?
Better food, I guess. Better air.
Yeah, everybody else got zapped on that. Well, she didn't dare do anything else after she took over the conference center, I suppose.
Could be.
So, anyway.
$3
Good
billion
old governor.
worth. There's some money for the town of Tyngsborough.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm kind of pleased, and I'm pleased with all the people that have come. I know at Conservation, we get a lot of people coming to the meeting, and it's interesting, because you look out, and usually, it used to be, you knew that there was something that was on the, you'd look at the agenda and say, you
Yeah.
know why they're there. But they're just there to listen and pay attention, and Emily and Ed Derby are fabulous.
Oh, tremendous.
What a team they are.
Ed is another one of our super volunteers.
Yeah, he's just there. He goes, and they work very well together. And we've been able to work with that stormwater. Lowell has a
Yes.
real problem with it.
Yeah.
Another thing that came from the feds, a mandate, unfunded mandate, and Ed and he's a real stickler with it. As far as when you're building in town, you have to have a runoff plan and everything. Not only do you have to have that, but how you're going to maintain it. That's become a big issue.
The maintenance is something that up until, I mean, really the last 10 years, we really didn't talk about in Tyngsborough. And you look, nowadays, a lot of these roads that were accepted before they really met any of our conditions, there was no follow through. We're still cleaning up some of those mistakes, so it is so refreshing when I watch, a conservation meeting or a planning meeting, and there's the conversation about, it's not just put in the infrastructure, right? It's how are you going to maintain it? And if it's going to become a public way eventually, and then it becomes our responsibility, making sure that our peer review consultants inspect it first to make sure that it's working, so that in 2 years we're not having to spend municipal money on a project that was just
Right.
completed.
Right.
Where are you going to put the snow? Where are you
Yeah.
going to, and that's a big issue. And I love my committee because it's so diversified.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody brings something.
Yeah.
It's a really, Jeff is our engineer, thank God.
Oh my
He's
goodness, I know.
amazing.
He's arguably probably one of the most intelligent people.
Oh my God!
I listen to him sometimes, and I'm like, none of that makes sense to me, but it sounds serious.
Yeah,
It sounds very.
he's really, but he's very nice about it. He'll present it, say, "Now I love your narrative." However,
And he's citing specific sections of the. But these are people, we talk about the money. These are people that ran and would volunteer whether there was money involved or not.
Yeah.
And I think Ed is a fantastic example of that.
Yeah. Oh God, yes, and he goes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like a photographic memory that you would never believe. He just reads something and he just runs with it. So, and all the departments of planning board work together. You do have. I think every community has a problem with planning and the other committees.
Oh, sure.
But I think the engineer has helped.
Absolutely.
Like
I'm going to do these announcements.
Oh, okay.
All right. Takes about a minute or so. You guys can catch up over there a little bit. Just realize your mics are still hot. If you want an announcement on City Life, just send it to me. Send a text to me or whatever way you want to do it's good. Happy to put it out there. Tomorrow we have Coffee with a Cop at Rosie's. That's in upper downtown on Middlesex Street. I'm going to shrink this down so it fits on the screen.
It's in Chelmsford.
Rosie's is on Middlesex Street.
It's on Rosie's. Isn't that? Oh.
It's next to the garage.
Oh.
Okay.
It's
So,
Super
I'm thinking Rosie's in Vinyl Square. Okay.
so she's having a Coffee with a Cop tomorrow at Rosie's Cafe, 155 Middlesex Street, Suite 1B. Always a tasty stop. Thursday, that's tomorrow, the 11th of November, from 9 a.m. to 11. Lowell Police Department, in partnership with Rosie's Cafe, will be hosting a Coffee with a Cop. Please join officers from the Lowell Police Department for a free coffee and conversation. Also, coming up this week in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts, I got to shrink this up too, is you might want to take your fancy phone, take a picture of this if you want to. The needy community, the Hope Dove Community Holiday Drive is Saturday, November 15th, 10 to 11 p.m. 10 to 11 p.m. 10 Kirk Street in Lowell. Donate if you're able. They're looking for food, all kinds of stuff there. So take a picture with your fancy phone. If you can help out, love to have you there. If you want to bring your big fat checkbook, join us for a campaign kickoff. Vanna Howard, State Senator, November 18th. At Cobblestone's Restaurant, 91 Dutton Street in downtown Lowell, 5:30 p.m. Donations start at $50 and they go up to $1,000. Donations can be made directly to vannahoward.com. So guests are kindly asked to please consider bringing a non-perishable food item for the donation to the Merrimack Valley Food Bank. If today is the 12th, out in Chelmsford, the senior center is having a tuna sandwich, coleslaw, tomato, cucumber salad, and pudding. And out in delightful Drake It, we're having a hot dog with baked beans, Latin slaw, I don't know what that is, and cinnamon apples. Out in Tewksbury, we have same thing, hot dog.
Oh, they must get the memo.
Well, I think they all get it from the what do they call it? Meals on Wheels. Baked beans. So baked beans, I'm always suspicious that it'd be hanging around those people in the afternoon. In Lowell, we have barbecue chicken with rice. Lowell is proud to have breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. So pretty good stuff in Lowell. And if you have a tired flag, in Lowell City Hall, the first floor, main floor, right inside of the city clerk's office, they have this flag drop-off box. Just slide your flag in here if it's tired, and they will retire your flag in a professional manner. That's my last announcement. Len, back over to you.
They burned a ton of flags at the Tyngsborough Legion yesterday.
Oh, did they?
So also you can drop them off at the Legion.
They
The
retired.
retired flags.
Retired,
So you're supposed to bring the flags somewhere to be burned, preferably to a Legion.
And that's how they retired them.
Yes. And some of them are huge. I didn't realize that there could be a 600-pound flag. Did you know there could be a 600-pound flag?
No, I never heard of a 600-pound flag.
I know.
Only in
There was a debate
Tyngsborough.
about it last.
Only at Tyngsborough, exactly.
No, we had, somebody doubted it, and so we Googled it. Actually, they can go up to 1,000 pounds, but a ceremonial flag is 600 pounds.
Wow.
The things you learn. Wow. That, yeah, I can't
Sometimes I
even
don't
imagine.
believe the internet.
Linda carried that flag right to the burn pit herself.
And waited for it to burn.
Yes.
Very long time it took, so, yeah. So to all the veterans, again, thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't thank them.
If you have a
for their
600-pound flag, bring a bobcat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Do you need a permit to retire that flag, or?
Oh, God, yes, you have to
600
bring, well,
pounds,
you
that's-
can't,
You need the fire department.
you can't burn your own flag, you have to bring it to a Legion.
No, they do it with respect, and there's
Yes.
a little
Yeah,
service that
that's
goes
what I
with
mean.
it.
Yeah, well, we don't have a facility at the Legion Tyngsborough or Chelmsford to burn a 600-pound flag.
So what do you got, a
but-
55-gallon drum, or how do you do it?
Oh, a lot of smoke
Secret?
there, huh? Yeah.
Okay.
Remember the old stories when they used to get the marijuana, and they would, after it went to court, they would burn it, and all the people would volunteer to oversee it.
Yes, that's right. We've had very little problems with except for the traffic, the occasional.
Yeah.
But again, it's zoning. I think that's a big part of it. Any word on what they're going to do with the sites that they want people to be able to shoot up? You're going to get one in Lowell?
No, I think they voted against it.
But is the governor going to go by,
I
overstep
think even
that?
Mayor Wu came out against it down in Boston.
Yeah.
I forget. I don't think you'll see it in Lowell.
I would hope not.
The neighborhood groups, excuse me, and now neighborhood representation, it's easy to say, we're going to bring it into the city, but where are you going to put it?
Yeah.
The methadone clinic, when they wanted to put that on Stedman Street.
Oh, I know, I
That was
remember.
the clinic. So,
Well,
And
then
they were
there's this
right,
story
the
about-
neighbors were right, there is a bit of,
A San Francisco undertaker friend of mine that said that 53,000 people shot up in his town legally. 3 reached out for help.
wow,
we were on last week, and
wow.
it came up with Eric, and what does Boston give out, 80,000 needles? I mean, it was an astounding
Yeah.
number of needles that they give out.
Yeah,
And you feel bad, but I just don't know if there's a neighborhood in the city that wouldn't put up a fight.
right. And
Any of you guys see the Northern Lights last night? They're beautiful stuff. I didn't see them, but all kinds of pictures on Facebook.
Yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty
very
cool.
sorry
if you're
I missed
outside,
that.
the right time.
See, there was a time when I guess smog is down, that we would never be able to see that for a
Right.
while. So, it's like cleaning up the river. Are we doing something to clean up the river? Aren't they
Yes.
gonna put that thing that's gonna catch the trash coming down?
We partnered with 3 other communities. Chelmsford's one of them. There's 2 others that aren't immediately adjacent to us through the Merrimack Valley Planning
North
Collaborative.
Andover. And I know Lowell's not doing it,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
And so it's a longer term project. The first step, there was a community cleanup event that Emily Brush, our conservation director, hosted last month. And that was focused on cleaning up the river banks. And I think that our efforts were largely around Riverfront Park on Frost Road. But yes, there are, as the project moves along, there will be, dredging isn't necessarily the correct word, but
They put something else
trash
to
netting
catch.
of some sort.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're gonna put, almost like a bulkhead type of thing that's
Yeah.
gonna come out and catch the trash from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So I just.
I was going to say,
But-
years ago, you were talking, you can't put snow in the river anymore. And I remember watching the news, this goes back probably 10, 12 years ago, and they had a city in New Hampshire dumping snow into the river, the salt and whatever else. And I think they caught them down in Lawrence or Methuen a couple of years ago, dumping the snow, which is a no-no.
Yeah.
Well, Grace was a no-no. There've always been some no-nos up in New Hampshire that directly affect us.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I just, and there's a whole issue about who's gonna collect the trash that they stop and that type of thing. But they were very good about it. It's not gonna affect any of the boating or that type
Right.
of thing. It's a beautiful river. I had the good opportunity to go up the river.
My biggest complaint, and I brought these into the debates with Lowell, I like to fish. And when you look at the river, Drake has a lot of access. There's not a lot of public access to the rivers. I still walk, and there was a guy who used to fish behind the arena every day. He would catch the little minnows in the canal, and I think he missed the state record on a northern pike by about an inch or so. I mean, there's a lot of fish in that river. It's a great fishing river, but there's not a lot of access to it, or open access, I should say. Tyngsborough does have someone, what is that, 113 or 110?
Yep.
But to cast, it's a lot of trees and.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Across from Ironwood, we have, I think it's like 4 or 5 acres that was
Yeah.
part of the country club. That we've talked about. What do we do with it? Do we do some clearing? Maybe put like a little dock that goes out. The challenge is you can't park on. You're not supposed to park on Pawtucket Boulevard.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you parked at Ironwood, we'd have to put some sort of a signalized crosswalk like you have in Lowell over by the ice cream.
But you'd have to get the state involved.
by
Get the state
Vespa.
involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know way back when, before the Legion burned, I was talking to people in town about, when they were beginning to talk about the golf course and trading some of the land that the Legion had, because you could get the feds involved to put a light in. And have a dock. But it comes down to maintenance
Yeah,
and
that's
liability.
Clean up,
Liability would be really tough.
liability, and people, once they use it, you hope they pick up after themselves.
Yeah.
None of them.
I gotta say, Ironwood has been a real success story on the picking up after yourself. That's something we worried about, particularly because almost everybody that walks there walks with the dog.
But
Yeah.
have you noticed they have spots that you
Yes.
can, where you don't see that? You don't see that down on Lowell, in Lowell. You don't see the access to pick up.
Yeah, we've
No.
got dispensers for
Yes.
doggy waste bags, and then right attached to them is trash barrels. But we haven't had. I've not seen a single piece of litter. Of course, things blow off the road and whatnot, but people are picking up after themselves. Granted, it's much more. People are always there, so it's a little harder
Yeah.
to get away with it. But people, when they like something, they do take care of it. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody just said this, Cliff Krieger just said this, brand spanking new bridge in China collapsed into the river.
Ooh.
And so landslides and stuff like that. So we play on this, and
Oh,
wow.
my. Oh, my.
brand spanking new bridge.
That is horrifying.
You always read about the Rourke Bridge and why it took so long, but it was always deemed safe. And when you look around the state, how many unsafe bridges. And I was watching the news the other night, they had scuba divers, I think it was in the Ponset River, and they go underneath and they inspect the bridges, and that got a fair rating. But there's a lot of bridges in the state that are deemed not safe.
Yeah.
What's the status of the railroad bridges? I mean the
Cliff.
dam bridges. How many of those are left to be fixed?
The dam bridges?
Yeah, the ones that were owned by the dam company.
I think
I
the
know.
city bought them all,
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
and they're being fixed at the speed of government. But as far as I know, everyone that needed being fixed is fixed.
Okay, I was
Like the
curious
one that
about
closed Central Street in downtown Lowell.
That was a discussion for years on how to acquire the bridges from Manel. And I know the city wanted to,
Yeah.
but they didn't want to pay for them because what you're buying is debt.
Yeah.
And at one point, the city did pay for them. So
Yeah.
now not only do they pay for them, now you've got to fix them.
There was one at Broadway, right? The road was
Yeah.
closed for a while, so I was just
All
curious.
along
what the
Father
status-
Morissette, all along to the right.
Yeah.
I should say to the Centerville side of the Father Morissette. All those bridges were there.
So they're done. And the one right down here in East Merrimack, isn't there one in East Merrimack?
Must be, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
curious.
And then on Pawtucket Street, I'm back in the Eileen Donahue days, that one collapsed. We had problems with that guy.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Over by the old ice cream stand?
Yep.
Yeah.
Part of it went in the water, and Eileen was, whoa!
Oh, yeah, I remember that. And they closed one whole side of Pawtucket
The
Boulevard.
one on Broadway Street was still wood.
Yeah,
That was a wooden bridge.
yeah.
And
It was a big deal when they started fixing them and the cost.
it did. And that was always the question. How do you acquire the bridges? And I don't know if Enel wanted them at the time or whatever company had them. But does the city pay for them, or do they come up with the argument, listen, we're acquiring debt.
Oh, yeah.
Is what they did. I remember the East Merrimack Street Bridge down by the old federal building near Merrimack. That bridge was gonna be fixed, and it was gonna be, I don't know, 3 months. So I go to a meeting, and it was gonna be out for quite a while because of the wiring underneath the terminals, and that no one really knew existed. And this is what happens with the bridges, so.
The only bridge I know of that Nell ever fixed was the School Street Bridge, the O'Donnell Bridge, that
Yeah.
little chunk that goes over their canal. They paid
Yes.
to fix that.
Oh, did they?
But the strategy was, we're not going to fix them, we're going to close them.
And that would have been,
You know, Lowell was having issues, I think, with school buses. The university was busing students. They didn't want to use certain bridges.
right.
And it was an issue, but I thought the city was right for years. We're not going to pay for them. We'll acquire them, and we'll take the money instead and put it into maintenance.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I guess that's a non-issue now. I know the Bladder Dam that's worked very well as far as erosion up in the,
Surprisingly
we don't
so,
have-
yeah.
we don't have the problem of the erosion in the trees. We were losing a lot of
that was
trees.
lawsuits for years. And everyone
Yeah.
wanted the city to file a suit. Maybe they did, but they really didn't have a good cause. The ones who did have the best argument was the national park because of the structure.
Yeah.
It was protected, but they lost that finally, and they put the Bladder Dam up, and it seems
And
to
they
be
did a
working.
fish ladder with it.
When Congresswoman Nikki Songus dropped her support for the bladder, that was the end of the fight back. Len, you want to read this one?
Why should there be problems with pot shops? Liquor stores have empty nips all over the parking lots.
Yeah, it's
It's true.
true. It's true.
It's true.
They make a lot of money on the pot.
Except that you could, I know, but on the pot, I think the town was wise not granting the entertainment aspect of that, because I don't know how, they haven't come up with a way to regulate it, to test for it. You either have it in your blood system or you don't. For 26, it doesn't matter. You can't tell whether you just smoked or you smoked 20 days ago.
Right.
And so until they have a way of, like on alcohol.
Jump on the back of the motorcycle, or you'll smell those marijuana as cars go by you.
Yeah, I know, it's frightening.
It is. It
And people
is.
go so bloody fast now. So you don't, they,
When I see somebody driving by me on a day like today with all their windows down, I'm very suspicious that they're smoking marijuana.
John knows what's going on.
That's my takeaway, yeah.
yeah.
Well, it was funny when they first came out with the lottery. All the money was supposed to go back to the cities and
Yeah.
towns. You're probably too young. They had tickets, and it had 6 numbers, 3, 2, and 1, and all the money went to the towns until Michael Dukakis was going to run for president, and he grabbed all the money, and the state started getting it. Now you look at the scratch tickets, and I got to get some today. There's a big game tonight,
Yeah.
I guess, and I'll buy like
Mega
5
Millions.
tickets, yeah. And but yeah, the state got into the vice.
And marijuana's a great example.
Yeah, I always say it, and I said on the radio for years, within 10 years, Massachusetts will legalize prostitution. And we're protecting the girls and we want everyone to be safe. They'll come up with something.
Yeah, but
but-
getting pushback on the betting now.
Oh, yeah.
That has fallen a bit.
Well, you can, you talk to employers, you have, I don't know how you get the phone, I don't do it, but everyone's betting on their phone.
Yes.
They have all these, and now they're concerned about that. And when you go to the casinos, a lot of time, it's all OTB, off-track betting. New York had OTB for years. But state is pulling in so much money with that.
But they always go with the guys that, I'm going to give it back to the cities and towns. I don't see it. How much do we get back? No, we don't get the host fee anymore, do we?
Well, no, that's the thing. Okay, I had promised earlier I was done complaining about the state, but one more. When we adopted zoning that allowed for recreational marijuana, the town was entitled to up to 6% of the marijuana
Right.
revenue. 3% was the excise tax, 3% was the impact fee. 4 or 5 years, not even 5 full years later, everyone adopted recreational cannabis, facilities were open, facilities were operating, and the legislature changed the law so
That's
that the
right.
only way you could collect that 3% impact is if dollar for dollar you could show the impact. Of course, there was no real impact in Tyngsborough. So we stopped collecting it immediately. So now we just get the 3% excise, but the share of the money that went to the state, as you'd probably suspect, did not decrease.
Well, you look at the variety stores and gas stations, all these people selling lottery tickets. How much of a percentage do you actually get back from the state when you consider the sales in your towns that you're getting back from the state? It's not much.
Well, and they hide it in your Chapter 70. It's part of the education funding, so it comes to you in your total Chapter 70
Yes.
receipts.
Yeah.
So you don't know how much of that is. And if you're a town
If
like
any.
Tyngsborough, your Chapter 70 money stays basically
Yeah.
the same.
Right.
And you get we don't get any federal money in the way that some of the cities do. So I would imagine that the reason they hide in the Chapter 70 is because, to your point, Marty, you wouldn't see that correlation.
That's exactly why I brought it up. And the cities and towns aren't getting their fair share from the state anymore.
No.
They'll send you the money, but they control it.
But no matter what they say, and they present it, and they say, because right down, they've already got the legislation written to
Right.
change it.
And I
then
think
you
local
adopt
control
it.
is always better,
Yeah.
personally.
Oh, absolutely.
But, the state, yeah.
I mean, it's like liquor licenses. Town meeting in Tyngsborough, which is the legislative body for Tyngsborough, voted unanimously in 2025 to petition the legislature for 3 new liquor licenses. The only people that would be impacted by those 3 new liquor licenses are the people at town meeting who voted in favor of it. It's not that simple in Massachusetts. You've got to do a home rule petition through the legislature, and ours was amended by Representative Tacky Chan from Quincy, probably never been to Tyngsborough. He didn't like the idea that they were unrestricted, they could go anywhere in town, and so the only way he would allow the committee that he was the chair of to vote on it was if we restricted them to specific areas
Right.
in Tyngsborough. That is astonishing to me, that again, a representative from Quincy probably couldn't point out Tyngsborough on a map, said, even though 250 residents of Tyngsborough said they want 3 new licenses, I'm only going to let the committee vote on it if you restrict it to specific places. That's not the law. That's not a standing policy
No.
of the committee. That was just his whim on the day.
I-
And with that, I'm done complaining about
Well,
this.
I
I
have
have a real problem with the state because for years, Massachusetts was bleeding residents. People were moving out of the state at a huge rate. And we kept hearing, that we need more housing, there's a shortage of housing, and people were leaving the state. Why is there a shortage? And they brought in the migrants. To me, and I'm one of these people who believe the arguments, it's to save a congressional seat. That's the idea behind it. We were going to lose a congressional seat. And that's why I think there's a big push from the state for more housing. They're trying to keep the population up.
God forbid we have a Republican rep in Washington.
Well, they get rid
We
of
have
her,
no
remember?
Republican senators, we have no Republican congressman in
Didn't they
Massachusetts.
get rid of Heckler?
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
it's all
They
Democrats.
zoned
There
her
are
out.
no.
They zoned her out,
Yes.
made her ambassador to Ireland. But yeah, that's what they did. But yeah, we were going to. That's my belief. I believe in that.
Time's
argument.
running out here, so tomorrow, City Life, we got Evelyn Thorne's gonna be the host. I don't think Bobby Always gonna be here. Sam Chase will be here. And Vivian Merrill, she's gonna be here. Time is short, Lynn.
They were doing gerrymandering before anybody knew
Oh.
what gerrymandering was. So.
I very quickly, if you'll notice this, just a little public service. I went to the dermatologist, this little skin cancer, and they took out. It was benign, but they still take it out. So the way things are today, make sure you see your doctor
Yeah.
and dermatologist and get these things taken care of.
And thank you for getting up,
Absolutely.
Colin,
Thank you for
coming
having
in
me.
and telling
It's a
us
good
all about
conversation.
Tyngsborough. And it's very cold out, so make sure you get a nice warm coat in the kids before
Bundle
they
the
go.
kids,
Oh,
yeah.
chilly, chilly, chilly.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching.